Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the Railroad Empire. Before we get into today's video, make sure you guys like and subscribe. We're 9 subscribers away from 1,000 at the time of recording this, so make sure you guys smash that subscribe button and let's get the channel to 1,000 subs. Alright, so before we get in depth of what's going on, I'm going to explain kind of what I've been up to, and as you guys can see here, it looks like there's some weights on top of some roadbed possibly, and whatnot. So we'll get into that in a little bit. And then we're going to talk about what's going on over by the road, because there has been a little bit of progress made there. And we'll also talk about a couple future plans. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. So, as you guys can tell, there's some weights on the track, and the old track that was there is obviously, it's not there. So, what I have done was, it was an old sectional track siding. Parts of it were nickel silver, parts of it were steel, parts of it were brass. Like, it was very janky. The joints were all mangled and not straight, and it would cause a derailment. And the other problem I had was the main switch right here. It would short trains out. So I don't know whenever a train went onto the siding. So I'm not sure if that had anything to do with the bad track on the siding or the switch itself. So if replacing the siding does not fix the switch, I know what will. So I can fix that without a problem. But the other main issue is the siding was very bad, and you really couldn't run trains on it because they would derail. So the first thing that I decided to do was, well, replace it. So the other issue that made me want to replace it was of how close it was to track 3 here. It was literally like 1/8 of an inch from tie to tie. Like, if you had one train in the siding and one train coming on that track, they'd literally be scraping each other as they went by. It was such, close clearance, and I just didn't want to have to deal with that anymore. So now I can probably take all these weights off because the glue is probably dry. But as you guys can see, this foam roadbed comes out way more than the old one did. So the clearance issue, we should be able to fix quite easily. But yeah, I just use these weights to hold things down that are being glued. But yeah, as you guys can tell, where this flex track here will hook up, the clearance is going to be quite a bit better. And it should be the same amount of clearance between this track, and this track. But, yeah, I'm pretty excited to get that in, so we'll hopefully get that done in this video. But first, we're going to take a look at the city. Alright guys, so not a whole ton of progress has been made in the city, but I thought this was worth showing. I've gotten some dirt down. This is real dirt that I had dried and sifted out, and I put it down, and I really like the color, and I'm super happy with it. I've also been experimenting with some lines on my road over there. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy with how those are looking as well. So, eventually I'll put static grass in and a few trees, but yeah, that's just what's going on for now, so I thought I would show you guys. Alright, so the next thing I've been working on is the engine shed. So, as you guys can see, there are 2 tracks there with that switch that go into the engine shed, and then if we follow that little track there, you'll see the level on the table, and it connects behind that bottle of baby oil, I think it is. I use it for smoke fluid, so that's why I have it. But behind there is a switch that connects it with the main line and the passing siding there. So that's all installed, and trains work pretty good in there. I still got to wire up the lights inside that engine shed, but yeah, look forward to that in a future video. Alright, so now that we're back in the main yard area, we're going to get to work installing this track. So I've done a few steps ahead. I've torn out the other one, and the brass track was oxidizing, which is another good reason why I needed to tear it out. But some ballast there. But I've already glued down this road bed, and I've cut it to size. And yeah, so we're gonna have to glue down the track, ballast it, and solder it in this video. So yeah, we're gonna start by connecting it here. And seeing, we just put it in the existing rail joiners, and then we're going to see how far it goes. So, as you guys can probably see. I believe the camera's picking it up. Yeah, it is. It goes about halfway onto that straight there. So what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna take my, I believe they're wire cutters, but they work for this, and I'm gonna go ahead and just snip the rail right here, and then we'll take this out and we'll replace it with that. Alright, so off camera I went ahead and chopped that rail down, and after a little bit of digging I ended up finding another piece of flex track that's about a foot long. So I decided to tear out the whole piece of sectional track after I cut it, of course. So I did cut the track, so we'll probably just be salvaging these little pieces just for any future projects if we need a little straight section for something. But I cut this piece of flex track here that I think we're just going to put there so we can keep this whole main stretch flex track. So I went ahead and got out my Code 100 rail joiners there. So we're going to go ahead and open this up and cut off 2 so we can, well, we're going to need 4 so we can connect all that together. So we're just going to chop these. Alright, so after getting those cut, we're going to go ahead and assemble them. So the first thing that we want to make sure is that our joints are smooth. So on this piece of flex track, I did not at all have to cut the ends, so the joints are fairly smooth from the factory. But on this one here, we did have to cut it, so we're going to get our little file and we're going to file it down and make sure it's as smooth as can be. Alright, so after filing down those edges here, we can see they're pretty good, pretty smooth. So we're going to go ahead and install this piece of track now. So we're going to have our joints offset, so we have to make sure we do this correctly. But I believe it'll sit in like that. Let's just make sure everything is the right length and lines up before we set it in there permanently. So it does look as if we cut our rails just a bit long, but that's not a problem. I'm going to go ahead off camera and just cut everything to the proper length, make sure it all fits, and then I'll be right back. Alright, well, I finally got all the track all fitted in. As you guys can see, from here all the way down, it's nice and smooth. And yeah, so if we bend it like that, it all appears to line up just fine, and it should be pretty good. So now I'm going to go ahead and clean up all the old ballast here, and then we're going to go forward with gluing down the track. Alright guys, now that we got all the track glued down, or semi-glued down just in a couple of spots, I went ahead and ran my Erie RS3 switcher back and forth over it a number of times just to make sure everything works, and everything appears to be just fine. All the joints are nice and smooth. So now we're going to go forward with soldering. Yeah, I think that's going to pretty much conclude it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little layout update. Hopefully in the future I will have the rest of the siding ballasted and more work to the city finished. I am currently working on weathering all the buildings and just making them look a little bit more realistic. So you guys will hopefully see those few changes in the next upcoming videos as well. So make sure you guys like and subscribe. We're so close to 1,000 subscribers. And I hope this video was helpful to you guys. And I'll see you next time on the Railroad Empire.